told you this was my only child. Gone because some racist people in a jail thought that they wanted to be higher and above the law and take law in matters into their own hands. My baby died by himself, suffering in urine-filled and feces-filled depends for 6 days. I wish it had been 8 minutes and 46 seconds. And while I take absolutely nothing from the George Floyd family, because my heart goes out to them, and I pray for them as I pray for all these families and everybody else whose lives have been stolen. It is not right. And I had to come out here today and tell you all how deep racism runs in the state of Minnesota, and I am not going to keep asking. I'm demanding that they lose their jobs. Nobody's been fired. Nobody's been suspended. And Dr. Todd Leonard, who runs Mid Medical, over 45 jail facilities in the state of Minnesota, your license needs to be revoked now. Like I said, I'm not going to keep asking nicely. I did that 2 years ago. I'm a praying woman. I'm a woman of God, and I always put him first because he's the head of my life. So I'm going to keep on praying. But while I'm praying, I'm going to keep on marching. And I'm going to keep on telling y'all the truth of what happened to my son, Hardell Shell. Say his name! Say his name! Be their voices. Thank you.
So there's a lot of people who are
We got 2 more family members that are going to speak.
Everybody needs to be behind the banner, including the press, but nobody should really be coming in this area right now.
I just need to just reiterate, if you're not speaking right away, please go behind the banner and behind the media. And we're going to keep moving it because we want to march, right? All right.
Hello, everybody. It's not the first time we came here and we was screaming aloud and we tell them those guys who was sitting upstairs. Okay, when they kill my son, it's not only him, they kill a lot of people after they kill my son. And we are every day crying. We are every day crying because they want to take a life of our children. How many times they gonna do this and be killing our children? How many? Okay, well, how long are they gonna continue? We don't know. Yesterday they killed some people. Before that they killed some people. Example, the black youth. Okay, if there are 10,000 people and every day they kill 5, okay, how long are they going to survive? We need a justice and we need a supporters. And we don't want to eat no more women who cry anymore. No woman, no cry. The police and the judgments or the system, they are vampire. They are vampire. They want to kill our children every day and cycle the plant. We need a justice. Those the guys who also killed George Floyd. How the world was saw him. The way they was killed him. And they was complaining him until today. And they was saying he was a criminal. Why they are complaining? The body, because they know he cannot talk. What we wanted is what? Justice. We need a justice. We don't want no more killing at all. Stop and that's enough. Thank you very much.
So you see how they operate around here.
All right, we have one more family member for Travis Jordan.
November 9th, 2018, one man, 33 years old, entire life was based down to 3 minutes and 45 seconds. All the good, everything you can give in your life, boils down to just a couple minutes because police have somewhere else to be, have something better to do, have zero amount of empathy or humanity to give you the time of day that you might need on your worst day ever. This is not a problem that will sit on the footsteps of just black homes. This is not a problem that will sit on the footsteps of brown homes, of indigenous homes. This is a problem that will come to every white household until you're up here wondering why didn't I do something before? Now is the time. Now. You think you had tomorrow, but it's today. My family was affected by this in 2011 before cameras as well, where my family also lost a cousin. He was bipolar, schizophrenic. He was having a bad day, made some wrong choices. Was killed by the police upon exiting the vehicle he was in. I can't verify whether this is true or not. We have to rely on the words of a bunch of liars, hacks, and hooligans. We will not put up with this. We will come for the change, and we will take it. Justice for Travis Jordan. Justice for Brian Quinones. Justice for Kobe Heisler. Justice for all stolen lives. All power to the people!
All right. And I want to say something quick because I know that they were talking about, oh yeah, you know, he was following protocol, he was doing his job. We fucking know. That's why we're out here. It's because we know their job is to kill us. We know their job is to intimidate us. We know their job is to fucking lynch us. And that's the fucking problem. Now, coming up next is actually going to be Jelani Hussein, which is the Executive Director of CARE Minnesota. Woo!
I want to first of all start by greeting you all. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May peace and blessings be upon you, all of you. I want to first of all start and ask a simple question for all of you who showed up. Are you here? I can't hear you. Are you here? If you are watching this telecast right now on social media and you live in this Twin Cities, you should be out here with us. We are not out here because we want to, we are out here because we have to. We have to be out here every single day demanding justice. I want to let you know that I'm out here today demanding for justice because I made a promise to these families. The 400 plus families here in Minnesota who have lost their loved ones to state-sanctioned violence. Tax-paid, state-sanctioned violence. And I'm going to tell you something right now, and that is the irony of what we are seeing in front of us is that the system is in the cage right now. The system is in the cage. We're not in the cage. The police is inside that cage right now. We're not inside of it. They are afraid of us because they know that we are right. They are afraid of us because they know the days of black and brown people being killed and the majority of us being silent is no more. Whether it's our Facebook page, Facebook, phone, or just the hearing the voice or the news of someone being shot and killed by law enforcement, we are showing up. This morning, just like many of you watching this trial, it was difficult for us. It was difficult for us to see from many different angles the horror story that took place in our own city. It's no longer 8 minutes and 46 seconds. It was 9 minutes and 29 seconds that George Floyd was lynched on 38th in Chicago by the Minneapolis Police Department, by the city of Minneapolis, and by the state of Minnesota, and every single one of us who lived here. We are responsible for the killing of George Floyd. We stood silent when Jamar Clark was killed. We stood silent when Philando Castile was killed. And we stood silent when the countless names that many of you don't know were killed. But I'm going to tell you, there's a new day in America and a new day in Minneapolis. And that day belongs to all of us when we demand for justice. In this moment, we have to demand for justice. And I'm going to explain why. Because many of us are stuck in the mentality of charity. I don't want your charity. I don't want your sympathy. I don't want you to just care. I want you to demand to fix the justice system in this country. There is a clear difference when you give us your charity and when you demand for justice. When we are now dealing with this pandemic, sympathies did not bring vaccines. Sympathies did not bring face masks. It was about fixing the problem, fixing the issue. You wanted to know when the vaccines are coming. You wanted to know when there's somebody working on this issue. Why is it the oldest pandemic of injustice that is embedded in this country does not require the same type of response from us? We must demand to change this system. Otherwise, we will be back on these streets because another person has been killed through state-sanctioned violence. We are not protesting aimlessly. We are protesting purposefully. And I'm going to tell you why. Because at this moment, when we are demanding justice inside that courthouse, we are also demanding justice outside the courthouse. Right now, in the state of Minnesota, we have put together a coalition of organizations that I ask you to join, have put together 8 legislative bills to end qualified immunity, to allow these families to sue the police departments that killed their loved ones, to force police officers to carry insurance, to stop only police respond to mental health crisis, and many more. We need these bills to pass. We cannot demand justice only inside that courthouse. We have to demand justice outside. So I want you to pull out your phones now, because we are not protesting aimlessly. We are protesting with purpose. Pull your phones out right now. And I'm going to give you a number, and I want you to text 8 to it. Here's the number, 612-200-2550. I'm going to say it again, 612-200-2550, and text 8 to it. You're going to get a link. Read those bills. Share them with your family. Write a post tonight about those bills. I want every single Facebook page to be filled with solutions, not goddamn sympathies. No more sympathies. We want solutions. Police officers are not above the law. Police officers are not above the law. So it is time now for action. Every single one of you, please take this moment. You belong to a community. You belong to a faith-based church or a mosque or a synagogue. You belong to a co-working group. You belong to some group, Facebook or the other. Challenge them for action now. Challenge them for action now. This is a moment right now. We must demand justice for George Floyd and all the families by any means necessary.
Hey, this is Sam again. Just a couple announcements. Reminders, when we start the march, we have some more speakers, but when we start the march, everybody needs to be behind the banner. Also, only people that are up here are people who are speaking, so please respect that. Okay, since we're texting things, I spoke a little bit about next steps for how do we get justice for these families. So we want community control of the police. And how are we going to get that? Our first step is to amend the Charter Amendment. And so I have the lovely Selena. Selena, will you come over here for just a second next to me? Selena, who are you? What do you know about this petition right here?
In Minneapolis, please come up here and sign this petition. And walk the crowd today. Please sign this petition. It is so important. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Selena. Selena is one of the people that are on the committee who brought this petition forward for community control of the police. And Selena is a North Sider. Yes, North Side. North Side. That's where a lot of GCC for J does our organizing, but we're also organizing the whole city. Real quick, I'm going to give you this text number. It's 612-453-3152. Text C, the letter C is in cat, E is in Paul, A is in apple, and then C again, and C is in cat, to 612-453-3152. That's going to sign you up for text alerts about community control of the police. And so I'm going to hand it over to our next speaker, right here.
To the racist system. No good cops to the racist system. No good cops to the racist system. No good cops to the racist system. ACAB. 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 So our next speaker is going to be a young speaker from Maryland, Victor Ramirez.
Right. I want to start off with a quote from Chauvin's attorney. I quote, "But when you review the actual evidence and when you hear the law and find reason and common sense, you will find Chauvin not guilty." And I call bullshit. He mentions common sense, but common sense tells us that this was a murder, and that is why we are here today. Common sense tells me that America is not stuck with the sea for 3 decades. Common sense tells me that racism is still alive. Common sense tells me that my brothers and sisters, that me as a brown young teen, I am scared when a cop stops me. I am scared when I walk the street. I am scared for my life because of the color of my skin. Common sense tells me that Chauvin is a murderer. That's right. That 926 is the number of a lynching. That 926 was the number of someone's life being taken. And I think that's what common sense tells me.
I am here to demand that his bitch ass goes to jail along with the 400 and plus killer cops in Minnesota. I'm here today, and we're here today to demand justice for George Floyd and all the stolen lives taken by the system. This dumbass lawyer also mentioned reason. This makes me think of the reason why Chauvin thought he could take George Floyd's life. The real reason being police not being held accountable for murdering people or being acquitted for murder. The reason being systemic racism, white people always getting passes while brown and black people are getting locked up or killed. Cops being able to do whatever they want, regardless of the situation. I'm here to say that if Chauvin gets off this charge, that if he gets a bullshit conviction, that I am going to be on the streets giving no peace until justice is served. I can be on the streets saying, damn, I'm mad, and I'm tired of this bullshit. I'm tired of having to be here because we shouldn't have to be here. Because justice should be served. Because this was a murder. If we don't get no justice, we don't get no peace. If we don't get no justice, we don't get no peace. If George doesn't get no justice, get into the ground.
All right, so this next speaker is Meredith Abbey from the Anti-War Committee. Please give it up for Meredith Abbey.
I'm here today representing the anti-war movement, and I think it's important to understand that we're out here every single week protesting for Black lives, and it's because we see connections. This is about George Floyd, but unfortunately it's not just about George Floyd. We have deaths happening of BIPOC people in our country every single day, but also we've seen this for decades. In Iraq, in Afghanistan, in Palestine. And when Jelani was talking about state-sanctioned murder, it's important to see that this state-sanctioned murder is happening at a global level. Yeah! Many of our BIPOC communities that are here in Minnesota are here directly because of U.S. warfare. Our Somali sisters and brothers are here because we destroyed their communities. Our South sisters and brothers are here because we destroyed their country. And during this trial, what we are going to see is the U.S. Army again and the National Guard occupying our streets. And they're going to be using the same equipment we use in places like Iraq and Afghanistan. And so it is important to understand that this is a fight for justice, and that justice is both local as well as global. Yes. So we're here today to say his name, but we're also here today because we don't want there to be more families that have to go through what George Floyd's families had to go through. So say his name! George Floyd! Say his name! George Floyd! Say his name! George Floyd! See you in the streets!
AC, Help comes the masses! AC, Help comes the masses! I smell bitches! I smell bitches! I smell bitches! I smell bitches! Alright, so our next speaker is also a Justice family member, but also one of the founders of our local chapter, the name of Roland's father! We get down to stand in solidarity as part of representing Native Lives Matter. I'm also here representing my brother Paul Castro, who was murdered by police in Denver, Colorado. So I'm here in solidarity with all the justice families here, including George Floyd. Because we know what the family are going through. I'm always going to say that. And we're always going to stand in solidarity and we're always going to be here to turn this shit up. I see that there's a lot of cameras here. So before I go, I want to turn this up one time. I smell bitches! I smell bitches! I smell bitches! I smell bitches! Native Lives Matter. Thank you. All right, coming next up to the mic is one of the OGs, someone that's been out here for a long time, a lot longer than I have. Representing BLM Minneapolis, we have Roland.
Peace. I'm from Black Lives Matter, Minnesota, and thanks to the youth for holding this down. If it wasn't for our youth who stood up against the National Guard and the white race soldiers who were coming into our community last summer to pepper spray us and shoot us with rubber bullets. We're starting, before I get started, say his name. Say his name. Say his name. Say her name. Say her name. Say her name. Say her name. George Floyd. Say his name. Say his name. No doubt. Shout out to DeLaw Ed and his family. Big shout out to Delcia Perry and the fight for justice for Hardell. Even Demetrius Hill. We got to go back 25 years. We want an independent investigation into any police-related shooting that has resulted in death in the last 25 years. So that's part of our reparations platform when we're talking about truth and reconciliation. But we can't have reconciliation until we have justice. We've been talking about Lady Liberty. So one part, Lady Liberty wears a blindfold. And the blindfold means that you're not supposed to see a person's race, color, or income. However, it has been routine for in the United States for the criminal justice system or Lady Liberty to take her blindfold off when black lives step into the court. And we've seen that today when they started lying or trying to say that he died because he was on drugs, or that basically he deserved to die because he was a black person on drugs. Somebody say that's that bullshit. No doubt. To make it feasible or to make it easy to kill us in the Constitution, to make us be slaves, they said we were 3/5 of a human being. So basically that's what was happening in the court. That's what the defense was trying to say today about George Floyd, that he wasn't a human being, and that it's okay to put your knee on an animal's neck for 9 minutes and 29 seconds. Somebody say that's that bullshit. That's that bullshit. We know that we're humans. They know that we're humans, but they'll pretend, they'll deny us our humanity so it's easy to kill us. So, going forward, let's start humanizing each other, right? Yes. Let's start humanizing each other and stop demonizing each other and stop undermining each other, okay? Let's do that as a community and as a country and as a people and unite against white supremacy and institutional racism in the state of Minnesota and throughout the United States. Say his name. Say his name. Say his name. Say her name. Say her name. Say her name. Peace.
All right. So I'm going to next introduce Kaya from Good Trouble and Chaz also co-hosting. They're going to talk about what they're going to be doing, and there's a little interaction. Woo!
Indict, convict, send those killer cops to jail. The whole damn system is guilty as hell. We will not get justice until the people who aren't affected are as enraged as the people who are. Where are they? Get out here and do something. That's right. That's right. We, as people of color, Black, Indigenous, Asian, Hispanic, Latinx, we have been out here begging to not be treated like second-class citizens for literally centuries. Yeah! When is this country going to get it together? Seriously. But we're not here to express our rage. We're here to sort of deal with another side of this tragedy. Our event is the Locks of Love tragedy, and we had an idea to write the names of those people who have been killed by the police on padlocks, and we're locking them on this fence. This fence represents militaristic fascism, and this fence represents the failure of the city of Minneapolis to build a relationship with the community. So rather than them shutting us out because they're afraid to hear what we have to say about their immoral policies and their racist policing, we're just going to put a little something on it to remind everyone that they murdered people that were loved. They murdered people's sons, people's husbands, people's father's sons. They murdered sisters, moms. How dare they? How dare they?
Hello, my name is Chance Neal and I'm from Red Wing, Minnesota. How many people out here are from greater Minnesota? Because I drive every morning an hour and 15 minutes to get here by 7. How many other people out here at 7 in the morning? Because the only people I see that get here are media. We started this Locks for Love to moralize and that these are gone but never forgotten names. And we need to keep on these names in the air until we, you know, they say we're supposed to scream it out to existence. Well, I want people to scream out these names until existence, until we get justice. Because until we get justice, we are not believing these streets. Thank you very much.
Go ahead and cue up the music, Peter.
And this time, if you brought Locks for Love, Chaz and I are going to walk over and we're going to be hanging the locks on the fence. Please join us.
How many more times? How many more times? How many more marches? How many more times? How many more lives? How many more times?
Our project is going on. There's a lot of people involved in what's going on right now, and it takes a lot of effort. And we aren't being paid by billionaires or anything like that.
As far as I know.
Everything that we do, we have jobs. Some of us have 2 or 3 jobs. Our single parents take care of kids. And so we have to do our own fundraising for what's going on. And so I'm going to pass it over to Mohammed from CARE, who's going to let you know how you can donate.
I'm with CARE Minnesota, and earlier today when Yolanda spoke about the 8 bills, we can actually take a look at them. If you go to mncoalition.org, you can take a look at all the bills that we are actually pushing through the legislature. We have 6 of them that are hopefully going to head over to the House floor. But also, there's also a donate button. You can donate to any of our 6 organizations. That's CARE Minnesota, that's TCC for Jane, Communities Running Against Peace and Brutality, the Racial Justice Network, and so many others, including the Minnesota Justice Coalition, Families Supporting Families Against Police Brutality, and so on and so forth. So if you go to mncoalition.org, there is a donate button going to support any of our organizations, as well as if you want to take an in-depth look at the bill, you can go ahead and go to our website. Thank you. And take an action as well. So again, I want to repeat our phone number. Feel free to text the number 8 for the 8 bills. That's the number 8. So 612-200-2550. Again, text the number 8 to 612-200-2550.
Kobe Heisler!
Thank you.
Fuck the police! Mic check. Okay, we're going to continue on with our program. All this stuff is going on, and it's my honor to introduce Miss Monique Colors-Doty. Miss Monique is the aunt of Marcus Golden, who was killed by the St. Paul Police Department. And one thing in the movement we believe is that the families have to be front and center in the work that we're doing, and Monique exemplifies what it means to keep on moving and fight for justice as a family member, and she's brought a lot of family members forward. And I heard that she was at the very first TCC for J meeting. Went down in the history book. So I'm happy to also a member of TCC for J and so many other ones.
Thank you, Sam. Thank you all for being out here. Black lives! Black lives! George's life! George's lives! Our lives! Our lives! That's right. So when we're out here for George, we're out here for all of our lives. We have to continue to stand up for justice for George, because if the police can get away with this, they will get away with everything. And they already get away with everything. So for our international media, for those of you who may not be as accustomed to American traditions and habits, what happened to George Floyd is very American. What happened to George Floyd has been happening to the descendants of enslaved Africans since they first came to America. And white people, even without badges, have been able to kill our black men, our black women, and our black children and get away with it. So this is nothing new for us. What is new is that we have the capacity to record on our cell phones. What has happened? There are so many more family members who've been killed in Minneapolis and St. Paul, throughout Minnesota, throughout the entire United States, who weren't filmed. Their loved ones were not filmed, and there's witnesses who are just too afraid. So I want to give a shout out to the young sister that recorded the killing of George Floyd. That poor sister, she ended up getting death threats for doing the right thing, doing what was just, letting the world see that George Floyd was being killed slowly, methodically, and with just a knee on his neck. And that's not the first time that people that in the Minneapolis Police Department have used their knee on somebody, killed them. I believe the other brother's name was David Smith. And after David Smith was killed, that tactic was not to be used anymore. We recently just saw last week at a homeless encampment, Minneapolis police was back again with a knee on their neck of an individual who was homeless. So nothing has changed so far. And if Derek Chauvin does not go to prison, the police will know that they can continue to get away with everything. And why is that? That is because we have a judicial system based on white supremacy, a judicial system based on capitalism, based on slavery, and based on genocide. That is the foundation of America. So I say the killing of George Floyd is very American. And we have to stand up
against the rhetoric and against the propaganda. We were told that the purpose of the police is to protect and serve. The purpose of the police is not to protect and serve you or myself. The purpose of the police is to maintain the status quo, to uphold white supremacy, privilege, and capitalism. So we cannot expect the police to, when you say do your job, when they're beating someone, they are doing their job. That's what we have to understand. When they kill someone in the streets and cover it up, they are doing their job. They go above and beyond what is written in the position description. And because of that, what do? They kill someone and they get promoted. It is part of what is expected out of the police system, and that thin blue line is a thin blue line of hatred and racism. The police are a cult, and they do not bend and bow to anyone or anything, especially not in Minnesota. So it is important that we continue to stand out here in these streets. So I have to bring this message that in November, there were 646 plus peaceful demonstrators protesting. We were kettled on I-94 between Riverside and Cedar. We did not shut down the freeway. The law enforcement had already gone down ahead of us and shut it down. We were not allowed off that freeway. We were all arrested. 646 people arrested. People who were supporting us, standing by and watching, trying to record, as a young woman recorded George Floyd. They were harassed, nearly run over with horses, maced and beaten, windows broken out of cars. It was a very violent attack. But yet what the Minneapolis police reported was no chemical agents were used. Yes, they were. That's that bullshit. But we have to remember, so many people who are out there have other reasons why they cannot stand and tolerate to have this on their record. And there's two charges, and one is a criminal charge. So we have to demand that Governor Walz drop those charges. We have to demand that the head of the Commissioner of Public Safety, John Harrington, drop those damn charges. We have to call on Mayor Fry, drop those damn charges. Because it's all BS. We also have to stand up for the 6 people who were arrested outside of Derek Chauvin's house after he killed George Floyd. Peaceful protesters. The response to George Floyd's death by police in Oakdale and law enforcement who came out from all over the metro area to protect Derek Chauvin's house was greater than the response to the protesters who are pro-Trump supporters who flooded the U.S. state capitol. There was more violence used on us before we were arrested than were used on the people who had invaded and tried to take over the United States Capitol. So drop those charges for the Oakdale 6 who had to be out there standing up because Derek Chauvin should not have been allowed to be in his home comfortable while George Floyd was sitting up in a morgue. We have to stand up for the 50 people who are kettled and arrested following the Breonna Taylor finding out the officer is not going to be charged. There were 50 people, and what they called themselves doing is practicing for the moment that the verdict comes down. And if Derek Chauvin is set free, they were practicing on us. Rather than practicing justice, they want to practice injustice. So I call on all of you to stand with us, having those charges dropped, so we can continue to be out in the streets. No justice!
No peace!
No justice!
No peace!
No justice!
No peace!
No justice!
No peace!
All power to the people! When I say fuck, you say 12. Fuck! 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 All right, we're moving on. Here is Tucson, Worthing, coming to the stage. Y'all give them up.
If George don't get it,
shut it down.
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 I've never watched the video of Derek Chauvin murdering George Floyd. then I'm never going to watch you. But my heart goes out to all the black folks that never get a trigger warning. You wake up in the morning and you turn on the internet and you see somebody that looks like you getting publicly executed, getting put down in the street while others watch. My heart breaks for you, my heart breaks for us, and my heart breaks for this state. This is a state where sundown towns were created. This is a state that has a whole lot of Islamophobia. This is a state that could be racist for free. In the South, when you had to split things up, that cost you money. But here in this state, this racism comes with a smile. It comes with ostracizing somebody. It comes with passively excommunicating you. So they don't gotta split it up, but they just ask you, are you here to buy something? And for my Asian brothers and sisters, you know that it doesn't have to be as physically violent to be racist. The last president can use xenophobic language that can organize an entire country to get violent upon you. That xenophobic language led to over 3,800 incidents of Asian American and Pacific Islander violence. Now, what do you think has led to George Floyd? What do you think led to May 25th? What was the passive, complicit actions that led to the murder of George Floyd? How many of you want a new Minnesota? And what are you going to do to get it? In 2013, Terrence Franklin was shot execution style in a basement in Uptown. Silence. 2015, brother gets killed by the cops. 2016, brother gets killed by the cops. Thurman Blevins, Philando Castile, Jamar Clark. I don't want to wait for another hashtag, justice for enter black man's name here. I want justice now. And I want a new Minnesota. I want a new city. I don't want there to be the passive racism here and you don't pride yourself just because you vote blue. You need to show up and do better. The one thing I can appreciate about an overt racist person is that they say they are. I cannot stand with people who are racist and will never tell you. Where are my black brothers and sisters out here? I need y'all to come up here. I need y'all to come up here. Black brothers and sisters, come up here. This is Minneapolis. This is Minneapolis. This is your family. When I say that you're not alone, I mean that. When I say that I got your back, I mean that. When we say that we got each other's back, we have to mean that. Now turn out to the Hennepin County Government Center. Everybody fist up. Black lives, they matter here. 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 And you don't need a Hennepin County Government Center to let you know that murder happened. You vote with your conscience. You know what happened. You know who you are, and you know that you are somebody. All power to the people. All power to the people. Thank y'all.
Mic check! Mic check! Mic check! If you're coming with us on the march, you need to start lining up now. Again, if you're coming with us on the march, you need to start lining up behind this banner now. Hello, everybody on the plaza. I'm talking to you. If you're coming with us, please start getting behind the banner.
I was at shop over the summer.
We have one speaker and we're leaving. So if you're coming with us, you need to get behind the banner. Press behind the banner, please.
people. This is about this is about making sure that we don't let this happen again, right? We're trying to make sure that we don't have to be out here out again, right? I'm sick and tired of being in front of this government center. I'm sick and tired of learning new things, okay? And it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that we have a fucking problem. And so when we see that there's an issue, we don't remain silent and wait for someone to die. We already did that, right? We saw the rise, the spiking rise of our Asian American brothers and sisters, right? We saw that racist rhetoric that they were saying. We saw the rise in hate crime. Did we need to see 8 people shot and killed? Fucking disgusting! We gotta take control now! We need to make sure that we stop some shit from happening before it happens! And that's why we out here! That's what fucking justice is! So our next speaker is a good friend of mine. And she's running for office, she's running for PET. Give it up for Samantha!
I'm going to make this quick because I know that we're ready to march. And you've heard all the things, you've heard me spoke about all the things. We got to start talking about what we are going to do. It was mentioned earlier. How many of you are following your local black and BIPOC journalists that are out here? You're donating to them to pay them for their labor because this knowledge is not free. How many of you are making sure that you're supporting your local economy and supporting your local BIPOC-owned businesses? How many of you are doing that? How many of you are divesting from the funding that you spend already and making sure that every single dollar that you spend is local and from a BIPOC vendor? How many of you know that 100% of the goods, products, and services that you receive or partake in every single day is available locally here from BIPOC businesses? Every single one of them. I don't care if it's a hemorrhoid pad or some Tylenol. that we want to see. And we will continue to march, we will continue to yell, but it is not just about organizing, it is not just about activism, you have got to mobilize. And I'll end with this. I will be hanging dog chains on this fence to see how those fucks feel about cutting down their own. Let's see how they feel about that. Because I'm a veteran that fought an unjust war. 14 months in Afghanistan watching my friends get murdered. Coming home and some of them killing themselves. Some by suicide by cop. Because they couldn't live with what they did. They couldn't live with their friends that they saw get mowed down. So since they're all standing around on our dime with nothing to do anyway, let's see how they feel when they have to cut down some of their own. Who was murdered and missing, a black woman from overseas, raped and murdered. Vanessa Guillen from Fort Hood. There is a long list of names of black and brown people that because of poverty, they joined the military to try to create a better life for themselves. Stop giving them soldiers and there won't be any militarization. You don't got to join the military, join your community. Find some beauty in your community.
Thank you, Sam. I just want to say something. Sam was talking about economic power. One of the things that she didn't talk about, but she normally does, is reparations too. And the Twin Cities Coalition for Justice for Jamar, we support reparations for black folks. But one of the other things we believe in, we support in the Twin Cities Coalition for Justice for Jamar, is black liberation. And we know that this political and economic system is not going to give it to us unless we fight for it. And so you saw this past year, black folks, brown folks, indigenous folks, and white working class folks join together. And we need to build past this system. This is not a justice system. This is an injustice system. That's the way this economy and political system works. So we need to build past that. And one of the ways we're going to do that is start building for revolution. And so I'm going to pass it over to DJ, who's going to get us the first revolutionary chant, and we're going to get going here. So Mr. DJ, go ahead.
When I say revolution, you say ain't nothing to fuck with. Revolution!
Ain't nothing to fuck with!
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 You can't stop the revolution!
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 This is what community looks like!
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 This is what unity looks like!
This is what unity looks like!
All right, just want to let everyone know, the press, you can be in front of the van or on the side, but you cannot be behind us, not safe. So I'm not going to ask y'all a bunch of times.
March! March! Press! You need to be on the side behind the banner. We will stop this march if you do not listen. Stay behind the banner. Stay behind the banner. Stay behind the banner.
Are you so racist? Are you so racist? Are you so racist? Are you so racist? Tornado lives, we mama left. Tornado lives, we mama left. Tornado lives, we mama left. When Asian lives are under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
When Asian lives are under attack, what do we do? When Asian lives are under attack, what do we do? 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 When I say we the people, you say I'm powerful. We the people. We the people. It's our duty! 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 Boots! Boots! Boots on the ground! We're here to shut this shit down! Boots on the ground! We're here to shut this shit down! Boots! Boots! Boots on the ground! We're here to shut this shit down! Boots! Boots! Boots on the ground! We're here to shut this shit down! All right, relax! Boots! Boots! Boots on the ground! We're here to shut this shit down! Boots! Boots! Boots on the ground! We're here to shut this shit down! Boots! Boots! We're here to shut this shit down! Boots! Boots! We're here to shut this shit down! Boots! Boots! Boots on the ground! We're here to shut this shit down! I believe that we will win! 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 I know 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 that we will win! I believe 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 that we will win! Let's go! I believe that we will win! One more time! I believe that we will win! This is what community looks like! This is what community looks like! Show me what community looks like! This is what community looks like! This is what community looks like! This is what community looks like! Show me what community looks like! This is 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 what community looks like! When I say who's the enemy, you say white supremacy. Who's the enemy? Who's the enemy? Who's the enemy? White supremacy! 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 Okay, repeat after me. The world is watching. 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 Okay, now this was for us. We are watching. 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 Okay, when I say community control, you say it's the way to go. Community control is 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 the way to go. Okay, when I say when will all lives matter, you say when Black Lives Matter. When will all lives matter? When Black Lives Matter. When will all lives matter? When Black Lives Matter. When will all lives matter? When Black Lives Matter.
Mic check, you need to get behind the banner again. Get behind the banner. Get behind the banner. Stay behind the banner. Stay behind the banner.
No justice, no peace. Prosecute the police. No justice, no peace. No peace. Prosecute the police. No justice, 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 no peace. Prosecute the police. The National Guard has got to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! The National Guard has got to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! The National Guard has got to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! The National Guard has got to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! Ho, ho! The National Guard has got to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! The National Guard has got to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! These killer cops have got to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! Ho, ho! These
us